It's funny that the way you put that about the five things jumping out of bed and that sort of stuff. And I'm just reflecting on my own relationship with my wife. And I got to be honest with you, I don't think that we exactly match on those five things. But I will say that probably our five things complement each other. Okay. So it's not so much like, for instance, my wife might go, okay, I want to get out of bed because I want to get the day going. I want to do things. I want to get going. And my compliment to that would be, well, I don't necessarily have to get the day going, but I want to get out of bed to get some tasty breakfast, and that'll get the day going. Right. See, so there is like, okay, they don't exactly match, but they're complementing each other. Sure. They're going, okay, these things go hand in hand. She wants to get going so we can go do stuff. And the only way I'm going to get going is if I have that tasty breakfast. So I need to get out of bed to, get that tasty breakfast to get going.
So let me just ask you one more question. Are there things where you get a pit in your stomach when somebody does something like, for example, if somebody came into your house today, it was just like somebody you knew from work came over and dropped something off. Like, hey, I'm going to hang out for a minute. And they lit up a cigarette, like in your living room. Would that give you a pit in your stomach?
I would cram that cigarette up their ass.
Okay.
I'm not big listener. I'm not a big fan of smoking. If that's what you do, great. Just don't do it around me. I don't want to breathe in that stuff.
Yeah. So my point is, I would assume that your wife has the same approach to lifestyle, and what gives you pits in your stomach isn't a day-to-day thing for both of you. Like, she doesn't do things that create pits in your stomach, and you don't do things that create pits in. Well, you probably do because you're tough to be married to, and that's a different conversation.
I don't do anything to put any pits in anything.
Sure. So you have what I'm trying to say is the compatibility thing is walking the same walk. I mean, I see what you're saying. You don't necessarily have to match up all the way, but I overall think you and your wife share, I know both of you, so you share the same philosophies and approaches in life of how to treat people. Yeah. And how to spend your free time and both work, and how to create financial stability together, and how to make that system work. You both share the same approaches on probably diet and exercise, and how to live and eat, and what to put in your fridge and what not to. Again, these are core staple things. So and also it takes a level of communication, because when they do get unbalanced, we talk about it. We have this open communication thing. I'll just cite a quick example. My kids are involved in soccer, and there was a soccer game the other day on my son's team, and in this particular league, they're not allowed to do any slide tackling because they're little micro league little kids. Sure.
And one of the other team did, and took out my best player on the team, and my best player is rolling on the ground, grabbing his knee because it pretty much just got his legs. And I gave it a second because sometimes kids, they blow it out of proportion and stuff, but he was just riling on the ground. So I hop out on there, and as I'm walking to this player, the other coach says to me, he cites the rule, hey, those kids have to stay on their feet. And I bit my tongue because in the back of my brain, I know that my wife would be saying, hey, cool off. Yeah. And maybe communicate this later to the coach, because he probably misinterpreted the situation or something like that. But in my head, if I didn't have that compatibility with my wife, if I didn't have that open communication and understanding, I would have jumped down that guy's throat and be like, are you kidding me? Your player is the one who went down and took out my kid, and, all that sort of stuff. So, it takes that level of communication all around. It takes that level of communication at the beginning to understand your compatibility with your partner. Right. It takes that level of communication when things start to get unbalanced. And so if we are communicating back and forth and saying, hey, this is what's going on, or this is what I want to do, or could you do this, you've got to strike up that conversation.